Hi everybody, good evening and welcome C3 Parents. This is basically, we are slowing down, we're rounding up this month of March, and what a month it has been. Absolutely amazing doing the Parenting the Parent. I love the feedback that I've been getting. If you are new here, if you are brand new here, I just quickly need to pour something. Okay. If you are brand new here, please remember to subscribe, hit that like button. It really helps in this world, and it actually helps this channel so that I can continue creating content that you guys like. Let's roll the intro and wind down our month of March. And what a month it has been. It has been challenging. The feedback that I've been getting from some of the parents that actually been participating in this whole process, some actually grateful that we did skip a couple of days. I do take accountability, responsibility. It's not my it's not that I don't want to be consistent and deliver every single day. It was honestly, it was as much as it was a challenge for you as the parent and as the person going through the challenges. It was difficult for me as well, like unpacking some of the challenges throughout this amazing amazing month that we had. I think one of the big things that was personally for me was a challenge was that repositioning those labels. You kind of, when you start your gentle parenting journey, when you start your positive gentle parenting journey, you initially start by, I'm so focused on raising my kid differently, breaking cycles and doing things different, that we don't hear the negative self-talk that's in our heads, that we don't actually hear everything. And then as they grow older, because like as a baby, like the first 2 years, they're fairly compliant, they're fairly relying on you, and it's almost, it's easy to be a parent to a child under the age of 2. And then they become more expressive and more challenging because they get into their own, and all of a sudden we get triggered. All of a sudden we realize, oof, this kid feels like as if they just know exactly where's my buttons. And the thing is, it's not like your kid wakes up in the morning and goes like, how can I upset my parent today? That's not what they're doing. What? They're just living their lives, and they are being children of that particular age and trying things and learning and experimenting with the world and discovering this world and this place that they're occupying, and they're trying to figure out their space and their agency in this world that they need to live. And we get triggered. We feel discouraged when they start doing things that we don't want them to do, and it feels like it's this drag. And when we're having a really bad time, it's in that moment that it feels like all our buttons are being pushed. Here's why. When you are tired, when you're having a tough day, when your hurts have not healed, those hurts starts lying closer and closer and closer to the surface. Some even become exposed electrical cables. Now, if you see an exposed electrical cable, you phone an electrician. You either phone an electrician or someone. You let someone that knows how to fix those exposed wires to fix it. Or maybe you have a little bit of understanding how electricity works, so you switched off all the electricity and you take the insulation tape and you cover up those wires and you put them back in the casing, and you make sure that you won't get shocked by it, you won't get harmed by it, that those cables, that electricity won't trigger harm. But we don't realize until we move through certain spaces and certain stages in our life as parents that those cables were exposed and harmed way back when the foundation was laid. And as our kids run over the surface and as life keeps on happening, our children starts pointing out these wires because they're on a specific level. The best way to explain it is you childproof your house, and the childproofing grows with your kid. Initially, the stuff that was not safe for them would be at a certain level until they're capable of reaching that level, and then you'll move it a little bit higher or in a different direction or things like that. That exposed wiring of hurts and ways that we've learned how things work as a child is on your child's level, and it's not been baby proofed. You have not been baby proofed because you did not phone in the electrician and say, hey, we need to check my wiring before I have a child. And even if you did do that, you don't necessarily know what wiring still needs an electrician or still needs the duct tape. Sorry, I'm gonna sorry about that. You don't know which of that needs the duct tape until you see the spark. Until your kid goes like, hey, zap, ouch. And that spark is your reaction. Negative self-talk, the way that we view ourselves and our place that we occupy, our agency, has a deep impact on how we view the space and the agency a child is allowed to have. And we need electricians, we need people that understands how duct tape work so that we can fix that, so that we can heal, so that we can move on. So that my child does not get electrocuted and in their home of their brain where they're building this house, where they're seeing the example of all the exposed wires, that instead of them copying our exposed wires and getting hurt by our hurts and continuing that hurt because that blueprint, they get to see truncated wiring that was not exposed to the elements, or how to take the wiring and protect it from the elements of life so it doesn't create that cycle of spark upon spark upon spark. The negative self-talk that we have about ourselves was created within the first 13 years of our lives. That's the foundation. That is where we learn. In that time period is where we learn how to think about ourselves, what space we're allowed to occupy as a person. That is the time period that we think about that. And we keep on repeating the mantra. That's why I asked you, like right in the beginning, go find the positive labels. Like this is the one thing that I struggled with. Because for very minor things, I can view myself as a failure. The fact that I struggled with consistency and actually reached a point where there were days that I skipped, that I did not have a video or a challenge for you. The negative self-talk in my head was, you're a failure. You didn't make it. You can't make it. Oh, come on. Who are you kidding? Why should people rely on you if you are this wishy-washy that you cannot even stick a whole month of consistency? Why should people? Because in my head, it is, You are unreliable. That's the label. That label has come with me throughout my whole life. And I'm busy learning with my whole process of learning about my own neurodiversity. The unreliability all of a sudden changes. And every single time that I called myself unreliable, like my first instinct was call myself unreliable, I had to pause and say, no, you're not unreliable. You just needed a break. Your disability, your neurodiversity is still putting in spacers in how you plan and how you execute things, and you're still learning how to find that rhythm of consistency. I've learned my lesson. I don't think I'll do a full month challenge again very soon, because I am still working on my own ability to be more reliable, to find that rhythm. And a lot of other things, I am completely reliable. I just get distracted. I just lose speed. And when I feel emotionally overwhelmed, everything shuts down. And I probably chose the wrong time of the year or wrong month. I probably should have started with February, like do it on the shortest month of the year. Try that out. We learn. And that is the whole growth mindset that has to develop within us as parents if we want to teach that to our kids. If I don't teach my children how to protect the wiring of the scripts and leave the negativity out for them to step in, to get hurt on, I'm not child-proofing myself for my kids. Part of child-proofing myself for my kids is admitting and owning my fallibility as a human being, as a parent, as a person that's learning and growing and realizing when I've done things wrong. But it's not always easy. Not everybody is at times happy to own their stuff. But we're getting there. We are growing. So one of the other things that was, see now my camera is like, I'm like halfway there. Why? Let me just see if I can readjust something for this. Is that better? I sit like this. I think I will sit like this. Okay. Right, so one of the parents actually shared was, for them, it was a challenge, not just the consistency, like for them to follow every day. Hi, Janine, I'll answer your comment now. One of the, is like, because this whole challenge, like the challenges really challenged them, they started feeling guilty for falling behind. And I'm like, dude, I'm just doing this and I'm putting this out in the universe. The challenge, yes, was for the month, but you don't have to do something to please me. Do it for you. And if it means that you do one challenge per week, then you do one challenge per week. Because you are learning, growing, and healing. And sometimes it's not just insulation tape that you need. You might have to phone in the electrician. And you won't figure that out necessarily if you challenge yourself every single day with a different thing. Maybe get stuck on one challenge and try that challenge every single day for a week until you know that, hey, I've conquered this, before moving on to the next thing. You don't owe me anything, but you do owe yourself health, happiness, and the self-worth of it. Janine says here, neurodiverse people trying to keep up with what we think neurotypicals would do and expect. Absolutely, that's exactly what we try to do, because that is the standard that we were raised in. We saw all these little pretty houses and these little prefab tiny boxes on the hillside. Everybody looks the same, behaves the same. And in the meantime, our inside and internal wiring is just sparking, because things are going so fast, and we don't get to see the blueprint. We don't get to see how things fit together, because there's an unspoken rule of how things are supposed to fit together that neurotypical people understand, and they just get it from social situations and they just understand it. Where a neurodiverse person goes like, ugh. And for a lot of neurodiverse people, we start putting on this facade as if we've got everything sorted. And trust me, I know that the challenges that I do have is very real and they matter, but I'm also acutely aware that the challenges that I experience, trust me, my wiring could have looked worse. Some people actually struggle even more, and we are taught not to really ask for help. That is actually something that I would like to delve into, is the inability. Where do we learn? When did we learn to stop asking for help? And it's not just neurodiverse people, but neurotypical people as well, but neurodiverse people even more so, because when a neurodiverse person asks for help, or reaches out or behave in a certain way that is asking for help, more often than not, they experience punitive reactions instead of supportive reactions. But yeah, we look at the boxes that looks the same, and everybody does the same, and their houses doesn't burn down with electrical fires. In the meantime, neurodiverse people, our houses burn down at least once a month, if not once like if we're lucky, maybe once a year. Some once a day or twice a day or 3 times a day, because the wiring of how life fits together is just jumbled and broken and exposed, and because we don't get the supports we need. And a lot of neurodiverse people still don't get the supports they need, which is incredibly sad. But yeah, we're going to work at it. We're going to figure out how to do the insulation tape. We're going to figure out how big a short in the wiring I need to phone the expert. I need someone else to come in and fix this. And how do we ask for that kind of help? Whether you're neurodiverse or whether you're neurotypical, learning to ask for help while being okay to look ourselves in the eye and in the mirror, and continuously and telling ourselves on the daily, that I love you, that you love you, until your heart, your soul, and your brain actually believe you. You're going to have to keep on doing and telling yourself that you need to say it, you need to hear it, you need to see it, and start doing things for yourself that fills your love cup. Everybody knows about the love languages. If you haven't ever heard of the 5 languages of love, you might have been raised under a rock, because it's been around for, I'm swear, 20 years, if not longer. But you know what? If you don't know what fills your love cup, please Google, go read up, go figure out what fills your love cup. And instead of waiting for others to do it for you, start doing those things for yourself as well. Start asking for those things to get your love cup filled. If you love gifts, buy yourself a gift. Spoil yourself with gifts. If you like servitude, if you like someone doing stuff for you, practice and learn how to ask for people to do stuff for you. Invite someone over and say, hey, you know what, this is going to be a bit of a weird invite, but I really like the way you cook. If I get all the groceries and stuff, do you mind coming over to my home and just at least cooking me one meal? We can have dinner together, we can spend the time together. And if you tell me what makes you feel loved, I will do that for you. But I just need someone to do this for me. And learn to love yourself and find ways to shower love on yourself. And this is where I'm actually going to have to get off my soapbox, because otherwise I'm going to ramble for the whole night. I used to be a pastor, guys. I can keep you busy for at least 2 hours if I have to. I can ramble. But we're going to finish here tonight, so I'm going to quickly go into some admin. I know that I've been promising a workshop session where we actually get to chat through some of the stuff that we've done. Due to the fact that I've got so many parents that's working through these challenges at this particular point in time, that has let me know that they couldn't keep up and they are working at a slower pace. The workshop is not happening at the end of this month. It will happen at the end of May. That gives you another 2 months, for all of us, another 2 months to work at the Parenting the Parent thing. If you want to join the Parenting the Parent journey throughout the rest of this year, please join the Patreon. It's in the link below. Join us. It's fairly cheap, and the podcast is available on tier 1 already, which I think is $1 or $2 a month. It is. I tried to. I think Patreon didn't allow me to do less than $2 a month, but it's like on the lowest possible setting. It helps keep the channel going, but also I want you to grow with us, and I want you to grow as a person, and it also then gives you a bit more access to a bit more resources. So we are going to go with that. So the next podcast for Parenting the Parent on the Patreon will come out next week, Tuesday. I need to finish up the recording and just go through certain things. So if you're part of Patreon, you will see when it goes up, and I will share it on Facebook, the link to the Patreon on Facebook as well, and on the Tubies and the TikToks and the wherever I can set the link so you can have a way to get onto Patreon. But please come and join us on that side of stuff. And then for the YouTube lives, I will have a serious Parenting the Parent sesh live on a Wednesday evening, the last Wednesday of every month. Okay, because Parenting the Parent will continue for the rest of the year. So we'll have a bit of a chatty chat about the Parenting the Parent every month, the last Wednesday of every month. I'm going to go back to my bilingual broadcasts or lives as of the first week, which is next week, first week of April. So week 1 and 3 will be in Afrikaans, and week 2 and 4 will be in English. And it will literally be a parenting coach reacts to kind of conversations of things that I've read on the internet, Reddit, Facebook, wherever we find stuff that we can unpack and talk about and wrestle through, and then also just general questions that keeps on popping up, and I'll try to do it in both languages, so there might be a little bit of overlap or repetition, and I'm not doing that to be a pain. That's just how it's going to, at this particular point in time, the easiest way to work it. But those will also be a live feed, so you're more than welcome to pop in on a Wednesday, spend time with me, spend time with the C3 parents, and chat in the chat box, and drop comments, and even come and ask questions. So every Wednesday will always be available for Q&A. Guys, stay safe. I'll see you next week, and I will not gonna make a promise that I cannot keep about dropping TikToks every day or dropping shorts every day. But you will be able to see short content, short form content more often from me than what you did in the past, but definitely not as consistent as you did see in March. Stay safe. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.